Wow, let's take this moment. Oh my gosh. Hi.
Hi, wow.
Welcome. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for being here.
It's
Such
an honor, honestly. Yeah,
oh,
truly.
thank you. I'm so honored to have you and all in perfect divine timing as always.
Always.
What even is time?
12. Exactly. What even is time anymore?
Yeah, I've just been like lost in the cosmos these days, just like, whoa.
How's it been for you? Like, what have you been experiencing?
Oof, yeah. I mean, it's been like I feel like it's always been intense.
Right.
But especially since like August, the Lionsgate portal, and just like connecting with more divine beings and like divine partners has been such activations. Like, especially these days, I'm really feeling this call to just like really go inward and almost like go into
Mm.
retreat and just like really focus on learning and continually getting these codes in. Like I've been sleeping so much. Like I slept like
Mm.
11 hours last night. I took a long
Wow.
nap yesterday and it's just like so much learning every single day on such a multidimensional level. And I feel like right now at least we're in a like little bit of a calm, almost like the eye of the storm in a way.
Literally, I found this in my
Ooh.
shoe
Oh my god.
before my hike. Yeah, I was like,
Hmm.
it was so monumental for exactly what you're saying. Um, I've been experiencing the same, just
Hmm.
it's like ever since Leo season, it kicks me into gear into
Yeah.
whatever it is that my soul wants me to experience is like it kicks into gear come Leo season. These transits of complete like transformation and like instant like death and rebirth on like so many different levels. But yeah, it's just been like navigating all sorts of, like you said, relationships that are coming into my life and helping me remember who I am and like why
Mm.
we're here. And TikTok has been such a big catalyst for that. I mean, just like coming across you guys and just like it was an instant activation for me, just seeing Soul Fam and being like I
Yeah.
feel it instantly. Like I see it. I know when we even
Hmm.
connected, it was like we were like, wait, how do we know each other? And I was like, it feels like it was like a mystical school or something last time we were here.
Yeah. I like tapped into that timeline a little bit as well. Like right after it happened, and I was just like exploring all these different things. But it was the same thing. Like when I saw your video, like just one of your videos popped up in my For You page, and I was like, oh my God.
Right?
Like,
That's the
hey.
reaction I was having too. Like, yeah, that was all like 2020 activations
Hmm.
where it was like, okay, we're all in quarantine. What's going on? I don't really know what to do with all this time. So let me just tap into this TikTok thing. I know I got
Hmm.
like the calling to do TikTok because I was avoiding it. I was like, I don't know about
Mm.
this. And then I was like, deep in meditation, I just kept seeing TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this then? Just start talking your shit. Like, just do
Mm.
you. And so I just started to explore like with different versions of me expressing myself. And I realized quickly that it was an opportunity for me just to document my truth, like I was doing on Instagram. Um, and then it just like took off, and all of a sudden, I'm coming in contact with like Soul Family, and we're all like out here like
Yeah.
speaking and like validating each other and encouraging each other to like step into like our authenticity and like now look at like what this is all turned into, and it's literally just the beginning. I know Gavin, we've been talking
Mm.
about how it feels like it's like soul reunion or like magical school camp, like again. And it's like,
Yeah.
we're all like here, like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
Where have you
Oh my
been for the
God.
last eons?
Oh my God. Yeah. And it's like we're all just like learning and sharing as we learn and like activating each other and like seeing how parallel our lives are in so many ways. And it's crazy that we all got drawn onto it around the same time. Like 2020 as well. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing on this app. Like, what? And then, it's so strange because it's like, it's something that is so multifaceted and polarized as well as a social media platform. But the fact that I've literally met so much soul fam, it's like, what is this? Like
Right. It
this
really just
algorithm.
right. And it also
Mm,
just like feels confirming that like, we are here for this mission, you know.
mm-hmm,
Instead of like me questioning, like that's kind of how I spent a lot of my life, was just confused. I came out tapped in, and I like literally purposely went into the matrix to study and figure
mm,
out like what is this about. And I've been open about how I've just been like a more feminine energy than masculine. And so that's been a huge part of my journey of learning what it means to embody the masculine and be that. And so I've spent most of my life studying, you know, the
mm,
masculine, but it was the toxic masculine. And so I embodied
mm,
that. And that distorted my feminine. And so I've been on this journey of just like rebalancing, you know, these aspects of me and allowing my feminine to continue to grow and empower. And so to see reflections of like divine feminines, like surrounding me, it helps me tap into more of like who I really am and like what I'm like crystallizing, or where my intuition is calling me towards. And it's terrifying because I'm like, I'm going against the grain of what, you know, my programming has told me to be, or how to act, or how to.
mm,
So I've been in this season of deprogramming myself into like what my actual authentic vibration is, and that's continuously shifting and changing as I experience more of myself, as I allow my beingness to unfold and unravel and open up to new experiences. And it's so fun, but it's also like, whoa, what are we doing? We don't know what we're doing, but we're doing something.
We're doing something. Something's shifting.
Right.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful that process of deprogramming as well, because like recently I've been really tapping into healing my like wounded feminine dynamics and how much of that wounded feminine carries and enables that wounded masculine as well. Like even just really tapping into like how I've approached sexuality my whole life and
Come on,
like,
girl, you better speak.
oh, that way of like these dynamics that I realized have been perpetuated since I was like a baby child, like 3 years old. This programming that, and like implants, like literal matrix implants that have been in my
Literally.
body. Yeah. And like I recently removed my IUD. Like I had an IUD for like 3 years and I wasn't bleeding at all. And I was like, oh, this is great. I can do whatever I want. I can like have unprotected sex and like I won't get pregnant. But removing it now and like actually like I energetically and physically removed these like really deep womb implants of like the matrix on an energetic and a physical level, and now it's like, oh my god, I don't even know how to relate to my sexuality again. It's like a whole new dynamic, because before it was so rooted in like rape culture. Literally, like so much of our normalized sexuality is rooted
Got
in that, and now
chills.
it's like, we're rebuilding,
Woo! We're
reprogramming.
rebuilding. We're literally like, seriously, it's so
Mm,
real. Thank you so much for sharing that and being vulnerable and transparent, because these are
mm,
topics that are people are scared to talk about, you know, they're
mm,
taboo, and there's so much shame and guilt around sexuality. And um you know, I can't relate with you on the womb level, but I relate with you on the feminine level of like that wounded
mm,
feminine. And um I relate with that in just the season of when I didn't have any awareness or self-worth, or I was just confused. And so it was like my coming out was a experience of me like exploring this explosion of sexuality,
mm,
which is like, yes, do that. But like, if you're doing it recklessly, if you're doing it out of abandonment, if you're doing it out of feeling a void, if you're doing it out of codependency, if you're doing it out of all these aspects to fill yourself, this is what I've learned. It's going to come back and show you, okay, you made that implant within yourself energetically by, just being so open with your energy, which I also don't judge or like shame myself or anything of that for that season. And that's something I had to really work through, because I was like, I call it like goddess activation. It's just like you go through this divine feminine activation within yourself where you have to remember who you are. And so you go out and you just receive all this energy. And it's not a gender role thing. It's just more of like the energy that you embody. So I found myself just exploring this wounded feminine aspect of myself to then come to this place of like, I got to clean up my act and go into celibacy and purify like what's going on with me, so I can see clear again, like what I'm really working with and like what's fine and what's like exterior of me, to then come to this place again in relationship where I'm ready to be open and experience my sexuality in this empowered way. And I'm like, and there's definitely like the residuals of like that past programming coming up again, where it's like, I don't have to perform from my wounded feminine. I don't have to perform from my wounded masculine. I'm actually being expected to show up as my authentic self and embody the empowered version of my masculine and my feminine. And not being someone that hasn't had the freedom or the environment or the safe space to be able to explore that is like, whoa. Like, whoa. We are really rewriting this from the ground up on how this can look, how this can feel, how this can be expressed. And like when both parties are in awareness and in tune with their own beingness and like their own sacredness, you can like coexist with each other and really create and like activate and heal and like unplug those implants that have been there for so long that I didn't know how to get to without having that, the divine reflection outside of me. And so like in this season of trying to experience this evolution of sacred sexuality is what I'm experiencing it as now. It's like source, Jaja, I call God Jaja, Yah, gives me the freedom to be able to be like, all right, go have fun, baby. But like, come back and tell me like, what are you experiencing? How are you? Is it working with you? Like, I always have the freedom to be able to reassess, come back into myself and like, make sure I'm staying in that core of whatever I'm experiencing at that time, of what is resonating with Jaja and like how that is being reflected in any kind of sacred sexual exchange I'm having. And that doesn't just physical, it's like mental, it's spiritual, it's emotional, it's like the sexual energy of creative ebb and flow and like give and take, and all of the aspects of how we are able to experience life in such a delicious way. Like, life is supposed to be sexual. It's supposed to be delicious. I'm a child of Venus. I'm like, baby, I'm bringing this back. Like, we get to live in our freedom and our authenticity and our expression. And it's triggering. Triggering. I realize like people are not ready for this, but it's also like we're past what people are ready for. It's just embodying the divine blueprints of who you are and unapologetically, transparently being that. And even in that, like, I know, like you talk with Gavin, so it's like he's been such a huge example in my life and monumental shift of like what it feels like to have such a reflection and like be triggered, but also like embrace with love simultaneously. It's like everything is all on top of each other all at once. Past, present, and future. How are you going to be? How are you going to act? Are you like, and so it's like, I find myself like almost going to places of like, am I going to chaos again? It's like, no, you're just experiencing the eroticism of a newfound aspect of self. Like, it's like I'm a kid again. I'm like, whoa, It's all a reflection of me too. It's not just one specific individual. It's how I'm experiencing life, how I'm experiencing going to the grocery store, how I'm experiencing conversations with like my mother. That has been such a big aspect of my healing journey, and embracing my sexuality, and just like not stepping down and being like, Mom, this is who I am. And it's like, I'm not changing. I'm only going to get more of who I am. And so if you want to like embody and have this sacred exchange with me, this divine exchange, you're going to have to come from your heart space, Mom. And I'm going to have to come from my heart space. So we're not hurting each other and judging each other, because ultimately we're on the same team. Like but because of our upbringing and programming, it's like my mere existence, it shatters her foundation of what she thought I was supposed to live my life as. And so we love each other so much, but like me embodying this new aspect of my authenticity is like, that's what I'm saying. It's like triggering. And I just have to be okay with it. I can't take it personal. I'm learning that I can't take on the shame and guilt of like when I'm operating from that place of transparency and authenticity. I'm learning how to like reel it in and like read the room and know like what, like, because there's this aspect where it's like transparency and authenticity. We can just jump in and be like, I'm transparent, I'm authentic, this is who I am. That's a part of it. But like at a certain point, I'm realizing it's like, that's also trying to prove something. For me, that's a trauma response of like, I've been suppressed all my life and now I have a platform. Like, let me just, what am I really getting from it? That's what I question. Like, am I doing this for myself? Ultimately, yeah. What's it representing? I don't know. The reflections were like, we'll, share that. But I feel like I'm in this season of fine tuning, like coming back to a balanced place of, yes, being erotic and all out there and, age of Aquarius. But then like reeling it back and being like, okay, when I'm going inward and I'm seeing all this that's happening.
Yeah.
Making sure I'm staying on core with myself. Yeah, I'm rambling, so go ahead. But.
Oh no, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. And like, I have so many reflections with that as well. I love the parallel nature of it. And yeah, it's such a fine tuning and such a balance. And of course we're in Virgo season right now. So it's like, I feel like we had all of this just like open activation in Leo season. And now it's like really grounding it in and like really just like refining it and almost working within bridging those like new and old paradigms. That's what I feel like. And like even working with these tools of like Reiki and tarot, like these are more kind of like old paradigm things, but bringing them into this new age and kind of like shifting the perspective with them. And like, I relate so deeply in a way to this expression of your authenticity and this exploration and the playfulness within a divine reflection. Because I also like, I've had a divine reflection come up, and it's my first like queer relationship. Like, I've always been queer, but I've never fully like connected with someone on such a level to have like a whole relationship with them.
Wow.
And
I know, like, yes. So new. Yeah, literally. It's a giddiness.
It's like blowing my mind every single day, because it's just like this safe container and like the awareness that this being holds that is constantly like reflecting to me on such a deep level. And like they're very in both of their masculine and feminine energies. And it's allowing me to like really explore like, what is my healthy masculine energy? Like, what is my healthy, like, not wounded feminine energy? Because I think I've realized, and like a lot of my relationships with, male gendered beings have been like, there's been the same dynamic going on of almost like violence within it, like violence within sexuality in some ways. And this whole thing of being like the submissive woman, like playing this role. And now it's just like totally unraveling. And I feel like a depth of connection that I've never felt before. And it's like, and I feel like, really feel like I'm with like an ascended master, and it's constantly like taking in these codes and these lessons. And it's just a wild ride. But like, and within that, it's like, whew, it's,
It's like
yeah.
once you start experiencing it, you're called out. The
Oh
ascended
my
master
God.
card.
Yeah. It's like, wow, okay. And it brings up like, sometimes it brings up like that unworthiness within me of being like, well, who
Ah!
am I? Like, I'm just a human. But then I remember, wait a second. If I'm attracting a being like this, there's something within me that is resonating with that and is
You
attracted,
better
that is
preach.
that as well. And it's so fascinating as well to see how everything that is no longer in alignment is just falling away as I step more into this truth and this authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Like even communities that I used to really relate with, who literally
Mm-hmm.
have said to me like, "Oh, you know, queerness is a aspect of the matrix," and I'm like, "What?" Like, I just can't accept that.
No.
Like, even if my being is not fitting someone else's paradigm, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what teachings I've taken from them, no matter what activations they've given me or what I've been able to learn and what I've been able to take away from it, if someone like can acknowledge that there's a whole generation of beings who don't fit into that box, who are just if as much, if not more spiritually awakened and awakening. And it's just like, I feel like it's so close-minded to even, you know, even these like dynamics of like masculine, feminine. It's like aliens don't
Mm-hmm.
have genders. So I
Right.
told myself, I'm like, the ascended masters, like my divine guides don't care if I am relating
Right.
with a male or female bodied being. They just care that I'm
Right.
growing and I'm exploring my
Right.
sacredness and
Right.
awakening. And seriously, like love has no gender. Like our souls don't have genders. Like maybe we
Mm-hmm.
take on these roles in our lifetimes. We maybe
Mm-hmm.
choose one that we embody more over the other in some aspects, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's just like, it's all this deep exploration of love, and we're swimming in this
Mm.
infinite source energy. So,
We are. It's
yeah.
so true. It's so real. And I've never, like growing up, my biggest fear was to be out, was to be seen,
Mm,
was to, I, from a young age, I knew that I mean, from preschool, I walked into class and right away, I felt like I was an alien. Like I was looking at the girls, I was looking at the boys. They were separated at lunch, at recess. The boys went and like were all rambunctious and were playing with the castles, and the boxes were just like loud and like obnoxious. And the girls kind of got up slower and like went to like the dollhouses. And I wanted to go over there, but I was like, but I look like them, so I need to go over there. And I just didn't fit in. Like they were kind of like outside, ostracized me, and so that, like, from that get-go, like, from it was just a kaleidoscope of different experiences where I realized like this world that I'm in and these gender roles that we have to play are so deeply embedded into like the fragment and the fundamentals of who we think we are. um
mm,
and it like screwed me up. Like I again love my mother, but she was one of my biggest teachers. She is one of my biggest teachers because, you know, it's like, as these angelic alien souls, it's like I see why I was surprised. I see why I was in the program. I was not supposed to be like how I am now. I was supposed to learn, like that's the only way I'm able to move through it and go through it is by going through it. So at the time I
mm,
was so confused of what's going on. But I adapted to it and I shapeshifted and I experienced relationship with women, and but I always had these secret relationships with like a masculine presenting female, masculine,
all the different.
all the different genres, all the different genres of the energies embodied in like exactly. And so
Mm,
it was always been a cycle, like you said, of what I've experienced, where I've attracted these questioning men in my life that are on the verge and they have this feminine energy and they don't know how, but then they see and are attracted to how I'm embodying it. and so then I help them move through it. And it's really terrifying. It's really scary because you have to go to the fundamentals of what you thought you were, or how you thought you were supposed to perform, and how you thought, and so it's like that Scorpio moon in me just like is like, maybe we got this, we can go there, we can explore this. Like, it's not that scary. It's actually is very liberating. And so that's why it's just like, I was telling my roommate last night, I'm like, I'm so excited to be alive. And finally, you know, I'm actually excited to be alive during this time, to witness this and see us transform and go through this, because I didn't think I would make it this far. Like, I didn't want to be here. Like, I was like, I'm out. It doesn't make any sense. And then I had my awakening where I had a Kundalini awakening in 2017 that basically was like my higher self like shot into my energy structure and was like, okay, we're done. And I asked for it. I was like, divine intervention, because I was about to sign up for my last semester of college. I just knew that was not my calling. And so closed my laptop, sat down, meditated, had a Kundalini awakening, went into like 3-month psychosis. I like was outside of that binary of what I was. And I was in this space of angelics and all the spirits and everything like that, and talking to the trees. And I didn't know what was happening on a logical sense, but my soul felt so at home in the energy that I was experiencing. And I knew I couldn't share this with anyone because nobody was like experiencing what I was experiencing. And that's when I shattered the perspective of masculine and feminine. And I was like, because at that point I was like, am I bisexual, gay? Like, and I was so focused on the sexual, physical aspects of how it was showing up. I was like, it was like, if I was like coming across men, it was like quick little, like the emotions and the physical, and it was like quick, boom. And then like, we're out. But like, Jaja was like, nah, dude, you're here to actually help like these men and women and be that bridge and balance that they can feel safe coming to, and being able to explore these aspects and talk about these aspects of themselves that has been so suppressed and so demonized. For what? You know, that's why then I start to question, for what? Why did this happen? Oh, we've been suppressing the feminine the entire time. And like the queers I see are like, I can just see it. Like, they're just so mystical and spiritual and masculine and feminine and like androgynous and tapped in, but also tapped out. Like, so it's like, how can, if like, it's like this rainbow, I feel like I've been called to lead the rainbow children and like speak to the rainbow children and embody that aspect of me, because there needs to be examples of who these two-spirited beings are, because we were so uplifted in our ancient past. Like, I've studied like more and more of like what this all is. Why has queerness been so suppressed? What are they so why are they scared of something? Like, are they scared of us? Because what I realize is we're beautiful, we're magical, we're tapped in, we all feel like we know each other. Maybe that's what they're scared of. Maybe that's the power of it. Maybe they don't want us to be experiencing this kind of love that is like not just for sexual co-creation, but maybe to experience and heal the patriarchal wounds of how we've experienced the suppression of feminine and masculine energy within ourselves. What if it's just that simple? What if we can have best friends and be able to be romantic with them, because that heals the entire, it's healing. You know, if you're coming from that place of like healing, then it heals. Like, you're coming from that place of lack, you're coming from that place of codependency, you're coming from that place of trying to fit the narrative of what you thought things were, how you thought you're supposed to operate in a gender role dynamic. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you? Like, a lot of people, that's actually what they want. That's what their soul's journey is. But at this caliber of old soul, there's too many variations of us to be able to fit ourselves into these boxes that this world has created, because we're here to shatter that. Like, it's like, no. Actually, no. Not at all.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel that in the core of my being.
That's how you know it's real. I feel you feeling at the core. Yeah. Oh, that feels so confirming. That feels so confirming. Because I've been trying to figure out, I'm like, what is this? You know? Why are we so demonized?
Oh my God. I feel like when you said the patriarchy, like that hit so deep. And like being with my partner now and like having so much reflected to me about how deep this patriarchal wound like really lies. And it's like, it's such a subtle energy sometimes. Like, even like, for example, someone asking me like, oh, don't you miss penises? Like, what? Like to think that like the core and like the root of a relationship is a penis and a vagina. Like,
Thank you.
what?
Like what? I've never thought, I'm like, is it the hyper focus so much on the genitals? I've literally been with people where I was like, energetically, I'm like, I can't meet, I don't want to do this anymore because you're so focused right here that like, you're not meeting me up here. You're not seeing me like, and so this is just a physical exchange, but I'm not looking for that. I don't want that. If that's what you want, then this is not it. You know, and I've realized that people that are deprogramming, at least in this transitional phase of like moving into questioning or queer, or like I just want to see, it's that deprogramming. Like they don't know how to tap into their upper chakras because they're so grounded and like engulfed in the root chakra aspect of what relationships are supposed to look like based off of gender roles. And straight relationships are based off of like co-creating, making more babies, like having families, but like in the nuclear structure, in the nuclear family structure. It's like, it is like a patriarchal perspective. Like heteronormativity is a patriarchal perspective. It's not, it was never like there before. It wasn't in my ancestry, like where my people, my ancestors, like, no, this is like actually like being in this incarnation. Like I remember I have all these like moments where I'm like, this is not how I remember it. This is like, it's just, but I also see why it's like this because we all have to be on the same level, the level playing field. Like, so now we're starting. And so the old souls and us that are awakening to our soul's essence, our soul's potential, our soul's soulmate connections, twin flames, whatever, like we're all here. And so like, I realized my soul group is here. So it's like, I've been wanting to go home to exit the matrix when Jaja is like, no, we're bringing home is here. And so you connect and you go horizontal as you channel up, you know? And then there's this whole union of energy that we experience and we get to level the playing field of what everything looks like: education, relationships, food, healthcare, spirituality. Like we're all starting, and now there's a platform for us to be able to speak about our reality and what we've experienced because our stories deserve to be heard.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about here. Like sharing the story and like even if people can't understand it now, they will in like 5 years or even in 2 years because like we're transmuting so quickly. Like I've been noticing like things in my body, I'll transmute something, I'll shake for like 10-20 minutes and it's done. Like it's through. Like we're moving through at such a rapid rate and it's only accelerating. So like these things are just deconstructing and rebuilding all at once.
That was so laugh where you're like, I know.
Oh my God. I feel like all these energies around us. Like, yeah.
Our teams are like, wow, they're doing it. And we're just talking. We're just like, yo, like, this is how I know. This is when I say, people are like, how do you like come across the people in your life? I'm like, it's literally instant. It's like instant for me. Like I literally, I want to talk and meet with my tribe, like because then our souls just recognize each other. We can just go in. Like I feel like I'm like, girl, this is what I've been going through. And you're like, say that. Only like it's like, but that's you. I like what you said that it's things are transmuting so fast that, like, I believe the 144,000 energy is the activation point. And once you get that to that point, you start to have the resonance and energy to be able to like cast your energetic net out to be able to influence like 144,000 million, whatever souls. Like, it's like you start to have an expanded bandwidth. And so that's why it's like, when I connect with the 144, it's like we're connecting at that tier of communication where it's like, we're casting our net and we can feel that liberation energy that's just happening literally within us in our body as we speak. It's a whole new level.
And we're activating. And think of how many people are being activated by this conversation right now, like across all space and time. Like, it's rippling.
What's up, guys? Do you hold space for them really quick?
Yeah.
We got this, y'all.
Okay, so I'm just gonna bring this energy down back into our bodies, into our heart space. Just taking a moment to be aware and come into our hearts and ground into this earth beneath us. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge all the beings in all time, space, dimensions, realities, taking in this message, being activated by this message, anything that it's bringing up for you, any codes that you're receiving, and just offering you this gentle and loving integration in love, and remembering that you are so pure and worthy and sacred in every single aspect of your being, every single aspect, no matter what you think might fit in or not fit in to the norms of your society or your family. We see you, we hold you in love, and there is a beautiful higher timeline, a higher dimension, a place available for all of us to come in to full acceptance and full being and our full power and full radiance, and be everything that we've ever wanted to be in every single aspect of who we are. So worthy and so loved.
I just want to add on to that and continue to encourage you that are listening. Step into this fullness of yourself, of any new activations, any new set points or checkpoints that you've come across in this conversation. Knowing that what you resonate with is your soul's way of communicating with you. And in a world where there's so many versions of us that we can present based off of how we're expected to present ourselves, the number one way to biohack is to simply just be. Go within, close your eyes, listen to your body, expand your breath. And tap into the resonance of how your soul is speaking to you. How does your body want to respond? Does it want to smile? Does it want to retract? Does it want to lift off? That's your soul speaking to you. And so moving forward, when we come up against new sensations and new feelings and new memories, recognize I say new memories because we are remembering, we're putting a body back together, and we're all the intricate part of this body. This crystalline vortex is made up of the aura of the rainbow. All of us embodying different colors, different rays, different frequencies, different resonance. And we're forming this into what we experience and what we refer to as love. So continue to breathe in and exhale. All that programming that no longer serves. Stepping into this empowered version. One mind, one soul, one love. Restoring the rainbow aura.
And so it is.
So it is.